waters off the coast of Gaza reinforces Israel's ongoing violation of international law and the infliction of suffering, including starvation, on the Palestinian people. 3 South Africans have been confirmed detained by Israeli forces, with government waiting for confirmation on the abduction of 3 other activists. The president is calling for their immediate release and to allow aid to flow unimpeded. Thando Lengcobo, Eyewitness News.
Advocate Terry Mudau has clarified that his decision to step aside as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry was mainly over budget concerns. Mudau says the budget of 147 million rand allocated to the commission by the Department of Justice is simply not enough for the task at hand. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa to probe allegations that the criminal justice system has been infiltrated by syndicates in cahoots with politicians and senior police officers. Mudau specified that his decision to walk away boiled down to issues of uncertainty around the allocation of the budget. Oren Singh reports.
Advocate Terry Mudau says his decision to step down as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission was communicated to the Commission chair, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, on September 11th, more than a week before he led the evidence of National Police Commissioner Fani Masimola. His main reason for pulling out of the commission was over budget concerns.
To be able to perform a task of this nature, once government says they have given you a budget of 147 million, it's not a lot of money for a task such as this one.
He believes the Commission will succeed in their role of addressing allegations of corruption within the criminal justice system, but emphasizes that evidence remains critical in ensuring the truth prevails.
It's not about what is said. It's about what can be proven. And it's very early days.
Mudau has been replaced by Advocate Matthew Chaskelson. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
The city of Cape Town has raised concern over the frequency of threats and attacks of municipal staff. The concern follows a video clip circulating on social media involving a traffic officer and a motorist. Earlier this week, the officials stopped a man driving recklessly who failed to also comply with the officer's instructions. Police were then called to assist with the situation when the driver allegedly became aggressive. The man was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, reckless and negligent driving, as well as assault. Mayoral Committee Member for Safety and Security, J.P. Smith.
The city condemns this incident in the strongest terms. Threats and attacks on our staff have become far too commonplace, and the perpetrators ought to be ashamed of themselves. Just this week, our Portfolio Committee discussed the rise of misinformation on social media about city staff and how this impacts negatively on their safety.
Smith says he hopes the suspect is prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Our staff work incredibly hard and under very trying circumstances to ensure law and order prevail and to protect communities. For them to be disrespected and targeted in this manner is completely unacceptable.
The city of Johannesburg is working on including the taxi industry in the formal public transport system in the metro. The metro's executive director for transport, Lethando Maboza, shared this with the industry stakeholders at the Smart Mobility Summit yesterday. The annual summit continues today and will see various urban mobility companies exhibiting innovative interventions aimed at improving transport on the continent. Maboza says bringing innovative change to the public transport sector can only be achieved by including the taxi industry in the discussions.
Without really working and the inclusion of the minibus taxis in our strategy, then we're not going to achieve anything. So I think the bigger clarity is how we formally include minibus taxis in our strategy and make sure that they are part of the formal mobility within the city.
And in Indonesia, rescuers say there are no signs of life under the wreckage of a collapsed school where 59 people are still missing. 13 people have been freed from the debris since rescue efforts began this week. Hundreds of students were inside the 2-story Islamic boarding school when it collapsed on Monday. At least 5 students were killed and about 100 others injured. The Disaster Mitigation Agency says rescuers using thermal drones have now failed to detect signs of life from the rubble. Gold is trading at $3,876.84 an ounce. The rand is at 17.18 to the dollar, 23.20 to the pound, 20.21 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.35 a barrel.
Well, at this hour, if you're driving through Bedfordview heading towards Germiston, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 southbound, this is between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. Also driving in and out of the Joburg CBD. There's heavy delays on the M2 westbound between Boysons Road and Main Reef Road. And in the mother city, we're still dealing with those roadworks, causing some delays on the N1 outbound. This is approaching the Huguenot Tunnel.
A fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 28 degrees, while Cape Town is also fine with a fresh southeasterly wind at a high of 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on the Israeli government to release South Africans and other nationals detained during the interception of the global Summit flotilla.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. 702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
And on DSTV channel 856.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking.
walking this talk together.
Every hour.
Every day. This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Hello, I'm Jane Dutton. It's good to be back with you again. I'm standing in for Mandy Wiener. We're watching stories that stretch from Gaza to Cape Town, KwaZulu-Natal to the Eastern Cape. In Cape Town, a 1.6 billion tender fraud scandal sparks 26 raids. In KwaZulu-Natal, schools face the shocking prospect of an opening next year without textbooks or stationery after the Education Department ran out of funds. And abroad, Nelson Mandela's grandson, Kosi Mandela, is among 4 South Africans detained after the Gaza flotilla was stormed. The ANC is promising revival while admonishing cadres who rock up outside court wearing ANC gear. In the Eastern Cape, a book fair aims to inspire reading in a province where 8 out of 10 children still can't read for meaning. It is a big hour ahead, and as usual, I'd love to hear from you. Play your voice notes. The number is 072 702 1702.
Because this journey is better taken together.
Let's walk the talk. 702.
So the ANC's power centre is in session right now, just ahead of the full NEC gathering. It's a time where the party's bleeding votes, municipalities are collapsing, and corruption scandals now a constant. Khomotso Modise has been listening in on this. We saw Fikile Mbalula talking tough there and saying that basically bad behaviour is no longer going to be tolerated.
Absolutely, Jane. Good afternoon. Yes, what we've been hearing from Fikile Mbalula is that they have not sent any ANC member to be corrupt. And, he's reiterated the stance of the party against corruption, even speaking about officials that are accused of corruption appearing in court and then fellow cadres coming in their ANC regalia, in the, green and gold, in support of those accused, saying that should not happen anymore. If you want to support someone, you should support them in your personal capacity. And of course, this is something we see a lot of. Sometimes we see members in court that are in their ANC colours, but also sometimes we see ANC flags outside the courtroom, people singing in support of those. I know that happened also with Nosivio Mapisa Ngakula and many others. So the ANC now being, expressing this stance. And I think it's really in preparation for the local government elections. We are seeing the ANC cleaning up its house, and they're saying no more. This needs to stop.
You just wonder if it's going to land, right? We've heard this so often, no more, no more. But you realize that when people wear their party regalia, they realize, nothing's going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and do it. In the same sort of league as this, as cleaning up the party, what was said about lifestyle audits and those being made public?
Well, there's been, Gauteng is the perfect example of how there's been a push for lifestyle audits. We heard this week during the briefing on the SIU's briefing around the Tembisa Hospital, Premier Panyaza Lesufi reiterating how they've been fighting to have lifestyle audits for their government workers, government employees, and there has been a pushback from them saying that this is not lawful. Now the ANC is saying that the outcomes of those lifestyle audits should be made public. So whatever results are found from those audits, those in government should make those known to the ANC so that the ANC can then take action against those people. Of course, oftentimes what will happen is after, there's a lifestyle audit and maybe there's something that seems untoward or questionable, then you would either be released from your duties, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be prosecuted criminally. The ANC does want to be privy to those results as well. So he's saying once that process has been carried out at a local government, at a provincial level, then that should be made known to the ANC so that they can take steps within the party.
And it seems that the pictures of Helen Zille walking around Johannesburg and looking at the potholes and all that certainly are making quite an impact, because I also heard him saying that, watch, municipalities are improving. Yeah. We are addressing all of these service deliveries. Again, it's looking forward, isn't it, to the next local elections?
Absolutely. I think, in terms of the local government election, the tone from today's briefing from Mbalula was clearly a throw forward to what we are planning to do in preparation for local government elections. And one of those, the items on the agenda is the quality of leader, Jane, that will be presented or given to the people as a candidate for the ANC. Now, ANC leaders at local government level as well have been criticized quite a bit, right? And the question has been, the quality of your leaders is so poor. And Mbalula, he doesn't deny that, he comes out to say, we know that this has been a challenge over the years. And so what we're going to be doing in the NEC meeting that's coming up, we're going to be having a conversation around the quality of the leaders that we're going to be presenting as candidates for the local government election. And that, I believe, or it seems they hope, will then give them a better chance at increasing support and getting voter support at the polls.
You wonder what happens in that vetting process, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Madlanga inquiry has been underway. Big names have been dropping. Brown Mokgotsi, and I know that Fikile Bulu touched on that today as well.
He did. So he's been asked about Brown Mokgotsi and Vusikat Madlala. I do think he's still speaking now, and just before I came on, he hadn't spoken about Vusikat Madlala. But the question that was posed to him was whether Brown Mokgotsi and Madlala are members of the ANC. What he said about Mokgotsi is that if he is a member of the ANC, he's not a very good one. Now, he hasn't confirmed.
What does that mean?
Yeah, he hasn't
confirmed for meetings.
I think what he's trying to say, and he speaks about the siphoning of funds or the alleged siphoning of funds. You'll know that there's been WhatsApp evidence that's been presented in the Madlanga Commission over the last few days by the crime intelligence boss, Tumsani Khumalo, who's been showing alleged, communication between Brown Mokgotsi and Vusikat Madlala, alleged communication between Brown Mokgotsi and Senzo Mchunu. And the allegation that's been made by Khumalo is that Mokgotsi had been one of the fundraisers for the ANC, a runner, so to speak. And so, there's allegations that he's been siphoning funds. And Mbalula says there's no way that they can allow themselves to be associated with such as a party. But what's interesting for me is that the question wasn't what type of a ANC member is Brown Mokgotsi. The question was, is he a member of the ANC? And he hasn't confirmed or denied that, Jane. He says if he is. So I suppose, I'm hoping that the colleagues that are there currently in that press conference with him as he speaks will press him further to say, but is he? Have your investigations revealed if he is? And of course, that question also stands for Vusikat Madlala.
And hearing anything about Nati Mthethwa, what might have happened to him? I know you touched on it very briefly. We know that an ANC delegation is going to his homestead.
Yeah. So, no, I didn't hear anything about what may have happened to him. I think that investigation is ongoing in Paris, but he did speak about the quality of leader that he was, really speaking about how he started at grassroots level. You'll know that Nati Mthethwa started out in politics at around 15 years old in his hometown in KZN, and he'd gone, to moved from an organization, local community organization, into the ANC Youth League, and then making his way into the mother body. And so Mbalula has spoken about, his leadership and how he made seamless moves as a leader up the ranks within the ANC because of the quality of the leader that he was. And that's what we've heard from him for now. In terms of what happened with his passing, we do know that Durko says that they are working with authorities in Paris, and they are waiting for a report. So I think we wait.
We wait, and let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Madisa, thank you.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
All right, talking about money and cleaning up corruption and doing all of that kind of thing, we're hearing about big moves happening in the Western Cape, in Cape Town in particular. The SAPS Commercial Crimes Unit has executed 26 search and seizure warrants linked to alleged tender fraud worth 1.6 billion rand. And apparently the suspects are accused of being awarded lucrative City of Cape Town contracts under questionable circumstances. It's a conversation that we can have in almost every single city in South Africa, it seems. Carlo Peterson is the EWN reporter on this. And Carlo, tell us about what you are hearing about what is going on here and who's been arrested.
Good afternoon, Jane. Yes, so both the SAPS in the Western Cape and the City of Cape Town are remaining quite tight-lipped about this investigation. We tried pressing them for more information this morning with the SAPS spokesperson, Andre Trout, saying that it's an ongoing investigation and they are not prepared to share any more information with the media at this stage. What we do know is that this is a SAPS Commercial Crimes Unit investigation, and they are being supported by detectives and external stakeholders. Yesterday, they went and did a search and seizure operation at 26 addresses across Cape Town in the metropolitan area, and it commenced into the early hours of yesterday morning. It follows information they received from a whistleblower, apparently, and the City of Cape Town subsequent preliminary investigations, which showed that there's these allegations of private identified addresses, including business premises of residences and municipal officials and locations linked to individuals and entities that were awarded contracts by the City of Cape Town. Like I said, we tried to press the city spokesperson, Lutando Tirabungo, for more information this morning, and this is what he had to say.
Following information obtained through an investigation supported by the City of Cape Town, the South African Police Service's Commercial Crimes Unit conducted a search and seizure operation at various sites in Cape Town on 30 September. In line with the city's zero-tolerance approach to fraud and corruption, City Forensic Services took swift action to assess and report the matter to SAPS, who then undertook a search and seizure operation. Operations took place at various addresses, including business premises, municipal buildings, and private residences. More details will be made available by SAPS as the investigation progresses.
I mean, they say that they'll give us more information, but any idea who will be impacted by these nefarious acts, who suffers? Obviously, it'll be the people of Cape Town, but to what extent, and who at the highest level should be held accountable? Do we know at this stage?
Not at this stage, Jane. Like I said, they're staying very tight-lipped about this operation, but it does seem like there will be more movement very soon.
Okay, Carlo, let's leave it there. Carlo Peterson on the search and seizure warrants in Cape Town worth regarding fraud worth 1.6 billion rand. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car full of groceries and a lady who will be attempting to make her mother-in-law's famous recipe for the family dinner tonight.
5 mils of sugar.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's butterflies and a potential bonding moment. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Walking this talk together.
Every hour.
Every day. This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Hi, Jane. Sorry here. The ANC must not keep playing this foolish game on us anymore. And South Africans must wake up. The ANC, if it really means business, it must pull back all those members who are implicated in serious crimes during state capture. And they must take them out of parliament until they clear their names. And they must also deactivate the so-called Integrity Commission, which keeps giving a green card to people who are criminally suspect. The ANC mustn't just come and tell us poetry. It must do the right thing. Act against corruption, sideline all those people who were accused of corruption until the court, not an Integrity Commission, clears them. Then we can start seeing whether or not it means business.
Dumela, Jane and team, Kingsley from Germiston. I think Fikile Mbalula's utterances are quite laughable because from what I can remember in about 2006, 2007, when former President Jacob Zuma was attending his court cases, at one point, a T-shirt, ANC T-shirt with former President Thabo Mbeki's face on it was burnt. And if I'm not mistaken, even an ANC flag was being burnt as many ANC members turned out to support the former president. But I suppose he'd have nothing to say about that because back then he was backing former President Jacob Zuma. The flip-flopping is hilarious.
I know it feels as though you are in a never-ending dream or nightmare when you keep hearing the same old things, the same old rhetoric coming out over and over and over, and absolutely nothing gets done. I think South Africans are annoyed by that. Many people annoyed or concerned about what's happening in and around Gaza and Israel. 4 South Africans, Zukiswa Wana, Reyes Muller, Fatima Hendricks and Nkosi Mandela, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, have been detained by Israeli special forces after the Gaza Summit flotilla was intercepted at sea. Now, they are among hundreds of activists from 45 countries, including Greta Thunberg and members of European Parliament, who've been taken into custody. Now, this flotilla was intended to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. South Africa is obviously calling for their immediate release. And it makes you wonder if South Africa has now been caught up in a wider geopolitical struggle. I think with the ICJ, we were putting our toes in that struggle anyway. Let's bring in Ali Kamape, Comms and Campaign Manager for Africa for Palestine. A very good afternoon to you. What is your response to what's happened to the flotilla and the South Africans in it?
Afternoon, Jane, and to your listeners. Our response is that we simply cannot take it anymore. Yesterday, we released a statement saying Israel must not intercept this freedom flotilla. It poses no security risk to Israel, even though Israel does not have jurisdictions over the international waters on the edge of Gaza. That this will will continue to exacerbate severe tensions across the international community, but they did it anyway. We agree with the President of South Africa that it's unlawful. At best, it's piracy. It violates international maritime law. It violates international law. Abduction of our South African citizens is a act of aggression against the South African state. We're calling them to be released immediately, and also we're calling for the South African government to respond with the necessary response. This is an aggression against South Africa. Just like Colombia that expelled Israeli diplomats just last night when this happened, or the earlier of this morning, we're calling for the South African government to do the same, to expel all Israeli diplomats and all Israeli representatives from this country.
Would that make a difference? I mean, we know that Italy and Spain and other countries offered to help the flotilla to provide some sort of security, and yet everybody's shown to be rather incompetent in this area. You wonder what it's going to take. I mean, there's all this rhetoric about how this is just a humanitarian aid flotilla, and yet they are stopped. They are being detained.
Of course. I think, Jane, even during the time of apartheid, when states were not doing as they are supposed to, the citizens of those states forced their hand. If you look at Spain, if you look at Italy, in the early hours of this morning, the streets of Italy were full of people on the streets saying, this cannot happen, this is not acceptable. So we cannot take rhetoric anymore. You're quite correct. We cannot take rhetoric anymore. And even in the case of South Africa, we can't take rhetoric anymore. Like you said in the opening, that we went to the International Court of Justice, we went to the United Nations General Assembly, we've been speaking out. It's time for action. Just like during apartheid South Africa, when states were not were using rhetoric, people, civilians and citizens asked for action, and when states took action, South Africa was under pressure. The apartheid government was under pressure and isolated. Went to the negotiation table with the likes of the ANC for a solution for this country. So we are asking that there must be action on the part of states, especially those that are directly affected by the abduction and this crude violation of international law by the apartheid state of Israel.
What do you say is happening in regards to the peace process when you look at what's happening on the waters there? A lot of Arab commentators are saying that they feel that the peace initiative that was put forward, the ceasefire initiative by Donald Trump, favors Israel, and yet a lot of the Arab states saying that they support it. Where do you think this initiative is going to land, and will Hamas accept the ceasefire now?
As a matter of fact, after the October 7th military campaign by Hamas, in a few weeks, Hamas said to the Israelis, we want to give you back your hostages. Let's go to the negotiation table and let's talk about it because you're killing our people. 2 years now, Hamas leadership and Palestinians within the movement have been saying, Israel, come, let's sit on a negotiation table. But in the immediate task, please stop killing our people. Jane, just a couple of weeks back, there was a delegation of Hamas leadership in Qatar that was going to discuss, amongst other things, this particular peace plan by Trump. Were they not targeted? Yes, they were bombed and they were killed. Israel has never made any intentions for peace. In fact, they violated several ceasefire agreements in Gaza. Palestinians want peace. Palestinians want to preserve the little of life that is left in Gaza at the moment.
And Tony Blair's not going to help, is he?
Of course not. I mean, it's a war criminal who accepted just a couple of years back that they went to kill innocent people in Iraq. Of course. But in this particular instance, Jane, we will take the lead from Palestinians. Hamas, which is the leadership of Palestinian Gaza, must come and say, this is the peace deal, this is what we want from it, and we will take the lead from it, the lead from them as the international community that's giving solidarity to them.
Yeah, it's time, isn't it? Everyone must come to the table. Peace must be brought. I think it's pretty agreed that Hamas must walk out of this and leave it to Palestinians to rule themselves without the threats that Hamas has to them and the bigger community. And Israel must now step back, and a ceasefire must take place. But Ali, thank you very much for that. We are thinking about families and those aboard the flotilla. Pretty frightening times for them. It is now 12:30, time for the news headlines.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon. Calls are growing for global leaders to help secure the release of activists detained by Israeli forces while on board a vessel on its way to deliver aid in Gaza. Yesterday, several vessels that form part of the global Summit flotilla were intercepted by Israeli forces. Israel says the flotilla was violating a lawful naval blockade that covers the waters next to Gaza, though it's still unclear if the boats had entered the blockade zone. But the activists say the interception is illegal. Advocate Terry Mudau has clarified that his decision to step aside as chief evidence leader of the Madlanga Commission was mainly over budget concerns. Mudau says the budget of 147 million rand allocated to the commission by the Department of Justice is simply not enough for the task at hand. The commission was established by the president to probe allegations that the criminal justice system has been infiltrated by syndicates. And Russia says it's getting the cold shoulder from Western countries represented at the G20 meeting of parliamentary speakers in the Western Cape as it looks to smooth over tensions with its detractors on the sidelines of that summit. Deputy Speaker of Russia's Federal Council says while it's holding constructive talks with other countries represented at that gathering, the same cannot be said about its European neighbours. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. Hugo Bruges says the whole national team setup must take the blame for the Tebogo Mokoena yellow card blunder that saw Bafana deducted 3 points during 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying. South Africa have now dropped down to second in Group C behind Benin on goal difference and must win their final 2 games to stand a chance of reaching next year's tournament. Speaking to the SABC ahead of his squad announcement, Bruges says people have taken accountability and the focus is now on playing the remaining games.
Between the first yellow card of Tebogo and the match of Lesotho, there were 16 months. But during those periods, you played AFCON, you played qualifiers for a new AFCON, and you played World Cup. So it may not happen, but it's understandable. Who is responsible? I'm responsible. I have to know that this guy had 2 yellow cards. My technical staff is responsible because they didn't tell me, hey, Tebogo has 2 yellow cards. The team manager is responsible. He didn't have the follow-up. The player is responsible because he didn't say us anything. And the administration of SAFA is responsible. So now everybody knows who's responsible.
In the Bedway Premiership, Kaizer Chiefs and Amazulu played out a 1-1 draw, which lifted the Glamour Boys to 5th in the standings. Having started the season with 3 victories, Amakhosi have now only won once in their last 5 games. And at the World Cup, the Proteas women will open their campaign against England tomorrow. Coach Mandla Mashimbi says he wants the players to be in a relaxed mindset as they target a first international trophy.
Just going into the first game, I think the players just have to be, positive and fresh from a mindset point of view and fresh from a physical point of view as well. I'm actually just excited to see them take the field and really, really ball that first ball or hit that first ball.
Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards Bedford View, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. That's in the Edenville area on the N3 southbound between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. Also coming from the Benoni area, there's slow-moving traffic R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange in Calvin. Leaving Alex, heading towards Midrand, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Butlu interchange. Also, if you're heading towards Riverlea, leaving the Joburg CBD, expect huge delays. This is on the M2 westbound between Boysons Road and Main Reef Road. Also, we still have those roadworks in the Devland area causing some delays on the Golden Highway between Union Avenue and the N1. While in the Mother City, we have roadworks slowing down traffic, N1 outbound. That's in the right lane approaching the Huguenot Tunnel. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Let's rewind 6 years, when Twitter was still Twitter, not a letter of the alphabet. TikTok was simply the sound your clock made. And Zoom just meant enlarging a picture. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
The motor racing event Cape Town has been waiting for is finally here. Get ready for the Speed Classic Cape Town. Over 140 historic cars, race cars and supercars will compete in a full throttle showcase of motion, sound and style. Experience the ultimate speed test as the legends of yesterday meet the icons of tomorrow. The Speed Classic Cape Town takes place on Philip Khosana Drive on October 25th and 26th. Get your tickets at WebTickets today.
Small businesses are anything but small. They're the backbone of our communities, the dreamers, the doers, the ones who keep Mzansi moving forward. That's why 702 and Capitec Business Banking are putting them in the spotlight. Every Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m., catch Small Business Focus with Capitec, where we showcase the hustle, heart, and the secrets to thriving in today's economy. Your vision matters, and with Capitec, you're never building it alone. Small Business Focus with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Thursdays between 6 and 8 p.m. on 702. Capitec Bank is an authorized FSP 46669.
Because this journey is better taken together.
Let's walk the talk. 702.
I'm sure that he's also going to ask for everyone associated with the Palestinian cause to be expelled as well because of the hostages being held by Hamas. These guys have misplaced outrage, selective outrage. There's one thing for South African to be taken, say, this inverted commas, hostage by Israel, but 250 hostages, civilians that didn't ask to be there, been taken by Hamas, but they're completely silent. Such hypocrite.
Good afternoon. It's Johnny here from Jamestown. There is no doubt that all the criminals, the thieves involved in the Tembisa hospital stealing of 2 billion, they all members of the ANC. Otherwise, it wouldn't be easy for them to do what they're doing. And believe you me, some of the top brass in the ANC, they knew about it. Thanks, John.
Yes, I think a lot of crimes have been known about and hidden, and a lot of people on all levels looking in the other direction in order not to see what has been going on at the hands of politicians and business people and the rest of us. But you get the feeling now with the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that with everything that's been exposed, there is no excuse not to clean up our act. But will that happen? I think we all need it. Let's talk about the KwaZulu-Natal education crisis, which has escalated. The Provincial Treasury has confirmed that the department has run out of money to order textbooks and stationery for the next year, with the budget already blown and unpaid bills piling up. The spending has now been seized under dramatic interventions, and schools face the real prospect of opening in 2026 without basic learning materials. Education unions are warning that this is not a bureaucratic hiccup. It's a direct threat to the constitutional right of pupils to quality education. I'd love to hear from you if you've experienced anything like this, if you have more to tell us about what is going on in KZN. And sadly, it's not just there, right? It's happening in so many different provinces around the country. I'm Jane Dutton. I'm in for Mandy, and I would love to hear from you. Send us your voice notes. It's 072 702 1702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
We're also going to be talking about the sad, unexpected death of the ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa's passing. He was found dead at a hotel in France, and his family said they're concerned with how he died, and it's alleged that he committed suicide because apparently he sent a message to his wife apologizing for what he had done. Obviously, we don't know any more than that. We were told a little bit earlier on that, and this has been confirmed by the ANC and Fikile Mbalula, that the government is working on, and South African police services are working together with French authorities to find out exactly what happened. Now, we know that a lot of developments and movement of people have been happening at Mthethwa's homestead. Nhlanhla Mabaso is there. He's on this story. Nhlanhla, tell us more about what is happening today.
Well, Jane, ANC leaders in the province have visited the Mthethwa family home here in Wambonambi, Northern KZN. The delegation comprises of provincial leaders and regional leaders, including former colleagues of the late ambassador. That include Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who you would know that also served in the international relations. You'd recall that also Dr. Sibongiseni, the likes of Jeff Hadebe, who were his colleagues at the time when he was still minister. Well, the interesting part is that the DECO deputy minister is also here. That's Alvin Borges, who's told the family that by Sunday they believe that the autopsy on Nathi Mthethwa's body will have been completed by then. He also says that chances are his body will be repatriated back to South Africa by next week, where and that the family will be, updated with about all the processes that will take place. You'd recall that yesterday the family was worried, also said that they do not know what's happening, and that the fact that they sent a relative to France to ascertain the situation there. But for them, they say this gives them comfort that DECO officials have come to brief them, tell them that there are processes that are underway, and they say that investigations still continue with authorities working together, and that includes South African authorities and now French authorities. They say that they should have a full report early next week, and then will give those details to the family. The family says they've asked rather that they want this, his passing or his death thoroughly investigated, Jane.
Because all they know is probably what we know, though I'm sure members in the family have been speaking, that he left a letter or left a message for his wife apologizing about what's going ahead. I mean, what is the feeling there?
Well, they said yesterday that they will not be entertaining that, because for now all they know, they say, is that their son has passed away. They say they will wait for authorities to give them full details, because when we asked about the issue of suicide and what's not, or what they make out of the situation, they did urge that for them this is not just a story, and they urge that for them this is not just rumors or some as people are taking it on socials. They said for them they've lost a son, they've lost someone who was able to look after the family, but mainly someone who they say cared for them. They say despite him being overseas and working abroad and now staying with his wife overseas, they say he always made time to check up on his relatives, his uncles, who are now the senior family members here at the Mthethwas. This village, I must mention, Jane, is known as Esawa Mthethwa, Kwamqadi here in Wambonambi. This particular area where we are in, most of the houses here are of families that share the same name Mthethwa. Even the tribal authority mentioned is under the Mthethwa. So when you ask them about his passing, mainly they describe him as a person who was caring, and they don't want to entertain. They said as a family they will not, and they don't want to entertain those, but they say they will, of course, give those details once they have the full report that is confirmed by authorities to say this is what had taken place. They had asked that we spare them, any thing that may be a rumor, because we did ask about if there was indeed a communication, but they say the only thing he heard from his wife was that he is now late. She did inform the family that he's late. They say they're waiting for those full details. But ANC leaders are set to come out and, brief us about their visit here in the Mthethwa. But preparations, like I've said yesterday, they are continuing. You can tell that this is a family that's now preparing to have a funeral. Just this morning, a grader was cleaning outside the family yard, creating more parking space for more people as more mourners are expected to come. The family says it's expecting different political parties, organizations, and traditional leaders to come and pay their respect.
And I should imagine that they are going to have to show their respect, because yesterday as well they were pretty frustrated that journalists were able to find their way to their homestead, and yet ANC members were a little bit confused about what was going down.
Yeah, indeed. Siphiwe Mhlongo, who's the deputy coordinator of the ANC here in Madlanga region, had sent out a colleague to ask the family, but the brother here, Kulegani Mthethwa, was rather not happy to a point where he said, but these are people who he worked with, these are people who he led at a regional level before the province and then national. He says he didn't expect them to ask for permission to come. He said he had expected them to say, we've learned about the news, we are here to, convey our condolences as the party that he worked for. So he was indeed a bit angry, if I could say. He was very unhappy about that. But this morning he was rather in a good mood, saying that he welcomes them and that this is what they expected. But I must say, most of the ANC leaders that are here are from that provincial task team, and it's led by Jeff Hadeb, who's now the provincial convener. Like I've mentioned, they will also be telling us as to what can we expect throughout the week. More ANC leaders and more government officials are expected to be visiting, but the family said any party leader is welcome to come and convey their last respect. They say they want to give their brother a dignified burial, but mostly they also do, as the family, wish to get to the bottom of what happened and why.
Slanhla Mabaso keeping an eye on that story. The family, like the rest of us in the country, really want to know exactly what it is that has happened to Mthethwa, how he died, what was going on beforehand. We know an investigation is underway, and as our reporter was saying, his body should be repatriated back to South Africa by next Wednesday.
CIRA is reintroducing printed ink certificates, now available as a paid optional service. You can now request your printed certificate online and collect it at your nearest CIRA branch. This service is in response to industry requests. Remember, your digital certificate remains valid and you can view it online. For more information, please contact 086-1333-850 or info@cira.co.za.
Checkers Little Shop is back with 46 new minis. Get one free when you swipe and spend 200 Rand on deals like Oma Auto Washing Powder 3 kgs for $119.99 and Clover Bliss Double Cream Yogurt 1 kg, any two for 79 Rand. Plus, stand to win a trip to Legoland Dubai. Simply buy any 3 participating products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers. T's and C's apply.
Small businesses are anything but small. They're the backbone of our communities, the dreamers, the doers, the ones who keep Mzansi moving forward. That's why 702 and Capitec Business Banking are putting them in the spotlight. Every Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m., catch Small Business Focus with Capitec, where we showcase the hustle, heart, and the secrets to thriving in today's economy. Your vision matters, and with Capitec, you're never building it alone. Small Business Focus with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Thursdays between 6 and 8 p.m. on 702. Capitec Bank is an authorized FSP 46669.
Walking this talk together.
Every hour.
Every day. This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Good day, Cape Talk. Tembisa Hospital is but the tip of the iceberg. It's happening everywhere, in all government hospitals. Come to Port Elizabeth, your eyes will open. Then go to the universities. I think it's everywhere. It's just the tip of the iceberg at Tembisa. And we, the law-abiding public, have been led like lambs to slaughter. We've been so trusting. It's time now to stand up. And these people need to reduce our tax, reduce our VAT, start the cleanup operation and work like we work, overtime when we need to make ends meet.
I know that is frustrating, isn't it? Knowing that our hard work, our taxes is going to pay for these nefarious deeds. Those comments coming off, what we're hearing about the ANC saying that they're going to clean up and KwaZulu-Natal education crisis, which has just escalated. Tia says, I'm sorry, but the schools don't pay for any books or stationery. The parents pay for it. They just send a list, what we have to buy to bring to school. Another corrupt organization. Right, let's move to something a lot more uplifting and something that'll give us hope as we flick through pages and it takes our imaginations away to fantasy lands. The Eastern Cape will be turning the page this weekend, quite literally, as the 3rd Provincial Book Fair opens its doors from the 3rd to the 5th of October at Bush Christian Camp in Buffalo City. It's more than just a festival. It's been billed as a celebration of language, identity and imagination. Let's bring in Busisiwe Jamsana, spokesperson of the Department of Sport, Art and Culture. Very good afternoon to you. Tell us more about this book fair. What excitement can we expect?
Good afternoon, Jane. And indeed, I think from that, I come in for some uplifting news.
Please.
The mood is, there is excitement across the province and I think across the country because of the book fair, because it's not only about a book fair for the Eastern Cape, but it's a book fair by different authors across the country. What we're trying to do is to position the Eastern Cape as a literary event in the country. The Buffalo City was recently declared a city of literature by UNESCO, and it's the 2nd city in the entire Africa to be declared a UNESCO city of literature, and it's starting tomorrow with the official opening. And we have sought to bring in discussions that speak to the challenges that people live by, the challenges that confront us as a society. And we're starting with a panel discussion on Ulwaluko, who are having Jerry Rachabe, an author who has written in detail about what he experienced as an initiate coming from Limpopo and how he links the teachings that are taking place at initiation schools to gender-based violence. And so what we're trying really to do, especially when we look at our province, the Eastern Cape, that is well vested in the tradition, is to look at the harms. How do we try and navigate that and ensure that we don't report on the death of initiates, Bosch circumcision, and having boys returning only to be animals that kill women. So we need to safeguard the tradition. And so the only way we can do that, or some of the ways we can do that, is to really have a panel that has people that have written in depth about being a man. And we also have Utata Jerry Mufukeng Wamacheta, who's written a book about I Am a Man. So we're really wanting to have a discussion that would look at how do we change policy direction, how do we safeguard the tradition, how do we confront the norm. But also on Saturday, Jane, we've got a full day of authors that include Kaya Zanga, Michelle Tekana, Ronnie Castles, to talk about the political landscape, the shifting political landscape of the country, but also discuss issues of mental health, issues of dealing with laws, issues of dealing with childless marriages. And we really think we've got everything for everyone. The topics range from politics to mental health challenges to navigating laws. But we also have Sunday, and I think this is my personal favorite day, where we're discussing Duduma Donsela's book, a dating playbook, How to Win at Umjolo. And we think this one speaks to single ladies, but also people who are in relationships and wanting to really spark their relationships. So it's a myriad of activities that talk to each and every one of us. You are guaranteed to find your niche at the book fair.
You really got hard hitters there, haven't you? And, it's wonderful getting good news from the Eastern Cape because, I'm not even going to go into what it is that we know that happens there. But one of the problems in the Eastern Cape and, across the country, 81% of grade 4s are struggling to read for comprehension. Can a book fair like this, can it shift literacy outcomes? Can it inspire?
In fact, Jane, this is the fundamental reason why we have created this platform. And I think the entire book fair also borders around the children's corner, where we are having children from different schools at an early age, and particularly the grade 4s, where we're taking book clubs from across the province that are going to be there doing book reviews, having reading sessions, and we've roped in Nalibali, we've roped in the legendary storyteller Umamugcina Mhlophe, where we are really trying to be in a position where we inspire and inculcate a culture of reading from an early age, reading and writing. And we think as a country, we are always very well vested in creating festivals, music festivals and other festivals.
That's right.
But we never really take a step back to really invest in reading programs, in reading festivals. And the minute we start taking them just outside of the classroom as just boring reading and all that, and make them festivals that we want to attend, we want to go because we want to read, we want to hear the stories that have been written, we want to do storytelling. I think that step is a step towards the right direction in terms of really creating a culture of reading and having and experts, publishers, writers, authors, emerging authors coming into one place to celebrate literature, to read, to listen to those stories. And I think such are important. And when we look at our country, some of the biggest book fairs are in the Western Capes, and even those would be privately owned book fairs. And I think there needs to be a shift in terms of how we view reading, how we view literature. And if we step towards that direction, we are likely to change the statistics because they're really bad.
And it's not even those who are struggling with reading where reading is a problem, right? I mean, you see older kids who can read and they're consumed by social media and they're just completely disinterested in something that is so powerful, that feeds the imagination, that feeds your vocabulary, that helps you understand the world a whole lot better.
Indeed, and that is why we've then not created just a book fair for children, but it cuts across. You are Musi, you are working. Because another thing is we never really get ourselves into the space of reading because we're so busy in the world.
That's
we're
right.
going to work, we're chasing chores, we're fetching kids, we're going to meetings, we're having virtual meetings. But reading also has a very healing power when you sit down and read a book. And whilst we venture into soft copies and the internet and also audiobooks, but also the importance of just taking a moment out to read a book, to hear someone talking about their stories. And some of the topics that talk about navigating a childless marriage by Umamu Nomzekelo Siko, who is from the Eastern Cape, really do not talk to her alone, but these are challenges that confront us as women, as a society, in terms of how we feel inadequate, how we feel that we have control, the stigma that is around that. And so by reading what other people have gone through and putting ourselves in their shoes, we're actually reflecting on our own lives, and this is what this platform seeks to do,
Okay.
to create a reading culture, but also to be able to converse about the challenges that we are faced with as a society.
We're going to have to leave it there. I absolutely love your enthusiasm. It opens its doors the 3rd to the 5th of October at Bush Christian Camp in Buffalo City Metro. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Dis-Chem has the best deals just for you, with everything you need on your healthy living journey. Buy 3, get the cheapest free on the Future Life range for nutrient-rich meals for the whole family. Get 2+1 cheapest free on all delicious traditionally baked Alet's rusks, and save 20% on Primal Apple Cider Vinegar 120 capsules to boost your metabolism. Offers valid until 19 October at Dis-Chem, your healthy living destination. Better health starts here.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Because this journey is better taken together.
Let's walk the talk. 702.
It's been very good being with you. We spoke about some of the victims in the Middle East, those in the flotilla, the hostages held by Hamas, the Palestinians under siege, the ANC and their new plans on cleaning up. It's always been wonderful hearing from you. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking.
This is EWN.
The ANC distances itself from corruption-accused tender tycoons, and Ramaphosa calls for the release of activists detained by Israel. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The ANC says it cannot associate itself with characters like Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi. The party